Let's see if we're live. Hello, everyone. Welcome here. Great to be here. Just going to do a few checks, just making sure that we're live. Checking on my phone at the moment, see if I'm live, if people can hear me. And hopefully that definitely works. So a very big welcome, everyone. Great to see everybody here at. We have done a lot of live sessions, but actually it's very interesting. It's the first live session we're doing here through the YouTube channel, so that's really great. You know, we have such a great channel already with YouTube, and we thought of doing the mentorship session here so we can have everybody join in and make it more comfortable. And I'm going to share some things with you today that's quite interesting. We're going to focus a lot on presentations. And presentations, of course, so important for real estate professionals out there. The better of a presenter you become, like somebody that can pitch very well, of course, that has massive impact on your results. And I hope that's going to deliver a lot of benefits for you. That is going to help you with a lot of closing deals, and that's what it's all about. So I'm going to share a couple of slides, but at the same time, you are able to go in and also ask some questions. If you already see us, just say a quick hello here in the comment box. I see Danny coming in. Hi, Danny. Great to see you. I think we have a call, right, in a couple of days, so great to be there. So lovely for you to join us and to be with us here during our weekly mentorship. So great for you to join in. Anybody else joining in here right now, give me a quick hello so I know that you're here. I mean, everybody that is here with the weekly session will have huge benefits if it comes to that. Like I said, we're going to share with you some slides and everything like that. But again, just make sure you also subscribe to our YouTube channel, because every single week we are actually uploading new contents and new videos in there that are going to greatly benefit you, that I'm absolutely sure of. So having said that, why don't we just get started with what we are covering here today, what is all about presentations, right? And one of the things that I would like to remind you of is that when it comes to presentations, it's all about people, right? So, to understand real estate, you really have to kind of understand the business within real estate, right? And to understand the business in real estate, you have to understand people. This is a people business. You need to know how to communicate with people, how to build relationships with people, how to follow up with people, have to have conversations with people. And I will never forget what my mentor used to say. He says, Taco, this business is as simple as it gets in the following sentence. Every sale starts with a conversation. So every sale starts with a conversation is really you having that conversation with a customer, with a prospect, with an existing client, whatever it is. It's all about conversations. And I sometimes need to remind myself that I need to have more conversations, because the more conversations I have, the more opportunities I kind of create, and the more opportunities I create, I simply get more deals. But once you create those opportunities, then it's all about, your presentation skills. You know what I mean? So then it's all about what do you need to do to basically get to that next level? And that really comes back into the 13-step sales process, right? The 13-step sales process is all about 13 steps in how to get your clients from the moment they meet you to closing a full deal. And I see 13 steps that are very important for you to understand in that, in that whole process. I mean, that there is a sales process is quite clear, but that you have a 13-step sales process for you is important to understand, because everything that a deal doesn't happen to you, it happens because of you. And because it happens because of you, you need to have a step-by-step process that can get you closer to that deal. So let's see if more people are coming on board. See Josephine there. Thank you so much, Josephine, for helping me as always on the back end. And I have my wonderful team here also in the studio helping me to get everything up and running sharp as always. So again, when it comes to closing a deal, it's all about you first need to believe that you can close a deal, right? So believe, you got to believe in what you do and what you sell. It's really so important. And you say this might be straightforward. Well, go back to all of the deals that you're trying to close today, either it's a project or a secondary property. Look again to the listing. look again to the project. Do you really believe that this can sell? Are you convicted? Do you have the conviction that it can sell? And if you do, then you proceed with the 13-step sales process, right? It's very hard to close a deal on something that you don't believe in, right? And you have to really come back to yourself and say, okay, if I would have the money and I really want to proceed further, would I invest in this property? Would I proceed with buying this project? If I would have the money, does it make sense? If it doesn't make sense, kind of have to go back and renegotiate the listing or renegotiate with the developer, because if it doesn't make sense, it probably won't make sense for the buyers. You know what I mean? So you are the first kind of quality check of this listing or this project if it makes sense for the market. I mean, the whole world can ask anything what they want for a property, but if it doesn't make sense, it will probably make sense for most people out there. So having said that, let's have a look a little bit deeper into what we're selling, right? And it really comes down to the 13-step sales process that you can see right now. So the 13-step sales process is all about you going out there and following these 13 steps. And I'm going to go through them very fast because I want to leave some questions to the end. So if you have some questions, put them in the comment box. I'll make sure to answer them for you in this, because it's at the end, it's a weekly mentorship session. So I need to give you some time to ask questions. So you can go to the chat, ask your question there, and I'll make sure to address that for you today. So 13-step sales process. You might think, why 13? Why not 12? Why not 15? Well, these 13 steps are extremely important from front to end, that where we identify as Propcoach that all 13 matter significantly to push the process forward, right? And these 13 steps, you might think, whoa, there's a lot of steps. Well, I mean, not every step will take you a decade to do. Some of them are quite straightforward, but we still want you to be mindful about it, because if you would skip this step, it can jeopardize the deal. So for you to really push forward and get these deals done, you need to look at all 13 steps. And I'm going to explain them to you briefly and, as simple as I can get, and why the step is in there, because that is where you can maybe see a deal go wrong. And maybe you agree with me or not. Every single step is important, but if you start to think about these steps, it's also going to be for you something to work on, to improve on, to really get into the skill development of this step. So why don't you say we just go ahead with the 13-step sales process, and we're going to just get ahead and move forward. So first step that we want to focus on is positivity. You say, duh. Of course, I'm a positive guy and I'm a positive human being and I'm very positive. Every deal has to be addressed with a certain sense of positivity, right? The attitude of the agent is everything. I firmly believe that the attitude of a sales professional is about 60-70% going to dictate if this property is going to sell or not. That's how much impact you have on the energy, the motivation, and the confidence of any prospects that walk through the door. Let me say that again, because some people just listen to that and they think like, wow, that was not a big statement. That is a big statement. I believe that about 60% to 70% of every deal is based on the attitude and the conviction of a sales professional to any person walking through the door, what is basically your prospect. So if you come in with low energy, if you come in with a bad attitude, if you have a bad day, if you're not showing the right conviction, immediately from the start, you're setting yourself up to lose this deal. Yes, it's that simple. Because people out there in the world, to get confident about a property, they need to see the confidence in you first. They need to see the conviction in you first. They need to believe in what you believe. And if you give just a slight feeling that you don't believe in it, trust me, that's not really positive. It's not going to give the positive sense. It's not going to give the positive thrive of you closing this deal. And I cannot say it enough, positivity is everything in this business. So there you have it, step one. That's how easy it was, right? What do you say if we go to step two? Is that a good idea? Yeah, I thought so, yeah. Let's go to step two, because step two is all about you having the right greeting. Now, you say again, duh, Taco, I know how to do a greeting. Do you really? Do you really know how to do a good, strong, positive, full confidence greeting? I mean, I see this all the time, everywhere I go. I walk into sales galleries, I walk into listing appointments, I walk into viewings, and I'm looking at the sales professional and I'm thinking, what the heck are you doing, right? You cannot even give a formal, nice, positive, strong greeting. And this greeting is everything. You know why this greeting is important? Because this is where we decide who takes the lead. Like dancing, right? I don't know if you're a dancer or somebody is a dancer, but when it comes to greeting, you need to understand that with a greeting, that's where people decide who's going to lead the conversation, who's going to have more of the lead way throughout the presentation. So the greeting is everything. So when you go to a client, you have to kind of come in and say, "Hi, Mr. Da-da-da. Nice to meet you. Thank you for coming here today. Let me show you around." Or, "Hi, Mr. Tan. Thank you so much for coming. I hope you didn't have too much traffic. I just want to say I appreciate that you're meeting me today. Welcome." And that has to come up with eviction, right? And some people think like, yeah, but I have to be humble and I have to be silent and I have to be respectful. Yes, but there's one thing even more important with the greeting that you have to be super confident. Confidence is everything in this business, and that starts with the greeting. So practice your greeting. Go every morning in the office, go find your other salespeople in the office and greet each other, because the greeting is going to determine to the buyer or the seller if you come in with full conviction and with full confidence, and that they can listen to you, that they see the authorization in you, that they they see the authority in you, and that they can see you as a real expert. So there you have it. We're just going to move on to the next part where we're going to talk about you have to be making sure that you have good eye contact, good handshake, how you're standing, body language, your voice is very important. But then you really have to dive deeper into understanding your clients. Understanding your clients is all about you understanding their need, understanding who they are, where they're coming from. Just get a little bit of knowledge from your clients. I see it so many times that people out there basically go into an appointment and they just start presenting. Well, that's not good. Because why? Because closing deals is all about how you match the information of your client prospect to the product or service that you're trying to sell. So if you don't have the information, how do you expect that you can sell? It's all about working your way backwards and understanding them first, and then working your way back how that fits into your project, how that fits into your listing. So if you don't get that information, you need to do what? You need to start asking that information. Understanding clients is all about asking a few questions, building rapport, setting yourself up so that the client is going to understand you. And that can be with a couple of simple questions. Hey, Mr. Lee, how are you today? Where did you come from today? Have you been living in this area already? Do you like this area? What has attracted you about this area? May I know, have you ever invested in a property before? What was your experience investing in this property? Can I also know what is it specifically you look for in a property? What is it specifically you're not looking for in a property? May I know, why are you looking around right now? What timeline are you looking to most probably invest in a property? Have you seen any other properties? I mean, I'm just now shaking out 7-8 questions just like that, and that is something you should be able to do at the same time to understand your clients. Was I going too fast? Well, good thing we're recording all of this, so you'll be seeing this back again into our academy, right? In Pure Propcoach University of Real Estate. So I hope you understand that part a little bit. It's all about you having that right information. Going to the next part of understanding clients, it's all about also understanding, then of course, the next step is all about what are your clients' needs? Needs, you say, right? Needs is an important something that, you need to dive deeper into. When you start understanding your clients, you kind of understand on the service level what your clients are looking for. But their need is all about their emotional need, right? What kind of certainty are they looking for? So what is it something that they need to be sure about? what kind of varieties are they looking for, right? The people like to have options, varieties, that is in the needs. What kind of significance or status are people looking for? I cannot tell you how many people buy things based on status. Then, of course, what kind of connections are people looking for? Who do they want to be connected with? Who do they want to live close to? So that connection gives them, the ability to connect with other people. Then, of course, it's all about what do they want to gain? How do they want to grow? And lastly, what contributions are they trying to give, right? Who are they buying the property for? For parents, family, for themselves, for brothers, sisters. There's always a contributing factor to buying property or selling property out there. I mean, people rarely do things only for themselves. They also do it for the people around them. So you need to understand your client's needs. Why do they need this to happen? What is the need right now? And you need to dive deeper. And this is always a very uncomfortable thing for new salespeople out there, because you need to master one skill and one skill only to get deep with your clients, and that is the power of questions. You must be able to ask detailed and very specific questions. And if you're not able to build that relationship from the beginning, and you don't have that rapport or kind of the click, the connection, it's going to be hard to ask those questions. So that's really the trick. That's really what you have to be focusing on. How do I build rapport and a connection with people as soon as possible within a short period of time? Because the better you feel that click, the more comfortable you'll be also to ask those questions. And I tell you, right here, right now, we can technically stop this whole session, because that's all what you need to really learn. Understand how you ask questions. And that will help you to understand clients, will help you to understand people's needs. And by understanding people's needs, you would really reach out to them with your hand, like on the picture here, and really address them and say, listen, I'm here to help you. I'm here to push you forward. Let's get this started. Yeah, so I really hope you understand that part, because it's everything in this business, the needs of your clients. So moving forward, let's have a look in, what kind of what is it next that we want to focus on in our session. So once you have done that, it's all about, doing the right presentation, right? So a presentation can come in many forms, in many ways. It can be presentations either in, you're doing a viewing is a presentation, or you're showing you're in a sales gallery or in a showroom presenting a new development is also a presentation. Or you're sitting with your clients at a table and you're having a folder about a country, an investment in a certain country. It's also a presentation. And presenting to people always comes down to three key aspects, right? What is the hook? What is the story? And what is the offer, right? The hook is always like, why do people need to buy this, invest in this, consider this, right? And that should just be one sentence. That is the hook. You need to hook them in with that. Why are you showing this to me today? Why am I going to decide to buy this today, right? It's the one hook, the one thing, the one necessity for me to look at this. Because people get lost in information quite quickly. And people get lost in tons of details quite quickly. Actually, it's the amount of details that is going to really confuse people when to buy something. But when you focus in the presentation first on the hook and then understand how to tell a story around it, then is where things get very interesting. Because in the presentation, it's all about you concentrating to put boring, let's say, not so relevant information into a storyline, so people understand not what you're selling, people are understanding how does what you're selling benefit them, right? So I hear a lot of people always talking about features, but the question is, how does the feature relate to me? If you understand your client and you know their needs, now you know how to present to them, because you're going to fill up those needs. You're going to fill up all of that basic understanding, what is such a huge thing, right, of helping your clients. So presentation, and then of course comes to the offer. So imagine this: you're doing a viewing, you're doing a viewing at a property, and you're showing people around. Now you have two types of agents or sales representatives out there, let's say you walk into a kitchen. The amateur sales representative would say to the client, hey, look, this is the kitchen. Well, your client would say, I can freaking see that it's a kitchen. You don't have to tell me it's I can see, I know the difference between a kitchen and a toilet, right? I can see it's a kitchen. So now you're just being a tour guide. But in a presentation, you are going to explain, what does the kitchen represent? Dinner, food, family time. These are the aspects of the needs, right? Connection, love, significance. So when you know how to match that in your presentation, then you really bring a property to life. You bring a property to somebody imagining how it would be to live there, imagining how it would be to invest in there, right? And it's such a beautiful thing if you can do that through your presentation skills. Right? A kitchen is just a kitchen, it's just a feature. But the question is, what does the kitchen represent? What does the bedroom represent? What does the bathroom represent? What does the balcony represent? And if you can turn that around and explain that through a story, a beautiful story, as how you would imagine people to live there, and explain that back to them, that is where people can really relive or live into the moment of owning the property. Wow, I know. I just get goosebumps by just talking about it, right? Because I always can see the smile in people's faces, and I can see their eyes lit up when I start talking about them living in the space and how they would make them feel. And think about that, right? I mean, that is what property is all about, right? We're not just selling a property, we're selling homes. We're selling things that people, invest in, that is for usually a lifetime. So this is how you also have to sell it to them. So when you are presenting, then during the presentation, you're actually also doing something else, what we like to call the temperature check, right? The temperature check is really something that you want to also really focus on, because the temperature check is basically going to help you to really go through all of the questions and feelings and objections that people might have during a presentation. Does it make sense? So during a presentation, you would have temperature checks. And let me see if the slide is coming up. I don't see the slide coming up right now. So let me see, because I am looking at still presentation, but the temperature check is here. So let me just quickly see how that is working. Yeah, so having said that, temperature checks are everything in the business, right? So you want to make sure that all of your temperature checks are there, that you are doing a good job in following through with that, because a temperature check, what is that? Is actually asking certain questions again during the presentation about your clients, like, how do you like the size of the bedroom? How do you like the kitchen? How do you like this? How do you like that? And overall, that gives an overall sense of, is it what you are presenting to your clients, is that actually also benefiting them? Is that also helping them? Is that actually pushing them forward? Is that giving them a sense that they like it, right? You always want to, during a presentation, having a sense, are people actually liking what they see? And if they like what they see, why not, ask a few more questions about that, right? Oh, so Mr. Tan, a big kitchen is big for you, is important for you. Yes. Oh, do you like cooking? Yes. Okay. Do you usually cook, or is it your wife that is cooking? All of that are important questions when you think about it. So when we discuss things like kitchens, bedrooms, bathrooms, facilities, etc., you always want to make sure that you get the right sense of quality when it comes to the things that you want to present. So that is really about temperature checks. Then we also have things like overall presentation. So as we're trying to move forward with the slides, yes, we are basically presenting now to the temperature check. So temperature check, like I mentioned, are basically checkpoints during the presentation where you want to make sure that you have everything clear of what you're presenting, that people really like it. So having said that, next point would be then, if you do temperature checks, you then want to go to what I like to call clarity checks. Clarity checks is all about, are people clear on the process of buying or selling? This is for me always a very big one. Why? Because a lot of people don't know the process of buying and selling. You may assume as an agent or negotiator or a realtor or a sales representative that people know the process, but many people actually don't know the process. So before you close a deal, you always want to make sure that the temperature check always is the question to the client. How do they feel what they have been presented? Do they like it? If yes, you go to the next stage, what is the clarity check? The clarity check is basically telling the client the process that in the event that they want to proceed with a sale, you have to explain them very clear what is the process. That's the clarity check. So usually the sentence starts something like this, like, Mr. Lee or John, I can see that you're interested in the property, what is really great. Now, in the event that you would like to proceed, let me explain you exactly how that would work. Would you allow me to do that, John? John says yes. Okay, John. So in the event you would like to proceed, we will collect a deposit from you and you would have to sign a booking form. After signing the booking form, we will register you and we will go ahead with the loan application. Loan application takes about 14 days. And after, if the loan application is approved and you would like to proceed, then of course you would sign with the banker what will basically help us to proceed with the sales and purchase agreement, what we will get ready with you within 21 working days. Is that making sense for you, Mr. John? Right? That could be an example, of course, of a clarity check. Now, whatever the process is for you to buy something or to sell, I mean, the process would be the same if you try to get in a listing, right? You say, hey, Mr. Tan, it seems like you're interested to see how we can proceed in getting your property sold, right? What would basically mean you would appoint us to promote this listing. So how would this work, Mr. Tan? Very simple. We would quickly get an authorization from you through a document that we're allowed to sell this property. Once we get this authorization, in the next 2 days, my team will come and take a couple of pictures, which we will need to start our promotional activities. And then we will start a very intensive campaign of 6 weeks where we will do all the promotions, putting it on the portals, running it through all the social media platforms, advertising it on our websites, and all the other things that are promotional related. I will be your first contact point to basically keep you updated in the next couple of weeks. And every 2 to 3 days, I will let you know if we have any interest. If anything would have to change to our marketing campaign, I would also inform you. And obviously, if we have any viewings or any interest, then we would come and view and let you know beforehand before we view the property. Are there any questions on that, Mr. Tan? You see, you are clarifying the process. And of course, I just took a simple example here, but anything that your clients want is clarity. They want to understand because clarity breeds mastery. Remember that, I say it again, clarity breeds mastery. So you always want to be super duper clear to all of the people out there in the world of what is the process. And that goes through the clarity check. Are you having fun so far? Are you guys having fun so far? I am having fun so far. And let me know in the comment box very quickly if you are having fun. You know, it's really great to having you here. We have a couple of people here in the live chat, and I'm sure that many people will follow us again in future mentorship sessions. But if you have any questions in the meantime, just drop it in the comment box, and I'm happy to address it right away. Okay, great. So having said that, we're going to go back. We went to the clarity check. That means now we're going to one final check stage, what I like to call the offer check. And the offer check is an extremely important part of the equation because this is where we are looking into the next phase that has to do with the part where we are doing the offer check. And the offer check is all about the part where we do, we basically present the offer to the client. So once we present an offer, right, a lot of times what we confuse ourselves about when it comes to our client, we always think that the client has to make the first offer. It's actually not true. You as the salesperson have to make the first offer. You have to lay on the table before you start negotiating what is actually the offer that we're presenting right now. So it's kind of telling them, okay, we have done the viewing, we have done the presentation, we have done the temperature check, we've seen that the client is interested. Check. Then we do the clarity check. We have explained the process of buying or selling. Check. Now we have to explain them the offer that's on the table. So let's say you're selling a property, a listing for $1.5 million. And you get to the offer check. So then you say to the person that you just did the viewing, you say, Lee, thank you so much for visiting here today. Can really see that you're interested. On top of that, great that you understand the process in the event you want to buy. Now, let me explain to you what the offer is here today. The offer is we have a property of 1.5 million, right? That is a negotiable price, but that means we only have small room for negotiations. If you intend to buy, then it's a non-furnished property. There's no furnishing involved. However, everything that you see right now in the property will be included. We're looking for, you can apply if you want to have for a loan. However, we would always like to try to find a deal with no contingencies to move forward. If you were to require a loan, we will give you 14 days to get that loan application. And at the same time, once you get the loan application, we have a closing day of 21 days. So do you have any questions on that, Lee? That's where you present the offer. You set the price, you set the conditions, and now you ask Lee if he has any questions. That is what you do with the offer check, right? So you see there's kind of 3 checkpoints. What I really want to show you very quickly, you have the offer check, you have the temperature check first, then you have the clarity check, and then you have the offer check. And that is really where you want to end, because once you get to the offer check, that is the point that you're almost ready to close the deal. And you might say, do I do this often? Probably not. But if you do this more conscious, you will realize that this process gives your clients more clarity in how they can move forward on this deal. Because they are the unexperienced ones. You are the expert here. So if you're the expert, you want to make sure that you can push forward with that throughout the whole session. So then we actually go to the negotiations. The negotiations, I think we have to remove this because this is keep breaking it up. Once we go to the negotiations, this is actually where the real fun starts. So imagine this, you have done the offer check where you basically have offered the property in terms of price and conditions, right? And now it's basically on the table with your client, right? Your client can now decide what they want to do, right? They might want to think about it. They might want to push forward for something else, whatever it is. They have now choice to proceed. And what they want to maybe do is maybe start the negotiations. They might want to go home and think about it, or they might want to go for some negotiations. Overall, the important part here is if you have done a good temperature check, if you have done a good clarity check, you have done a good offer check, it will always motivate your clients to start asking questions. That's an important indicator for you if you have done the temperature, the clarity, and the offer check the correct way. And when the negotiation starts, that is really the fun part of the business, right? Negotiations. Although I know a lot of agents and sales representatives don't really like to negotiate. They just want to have a full offer and just ready to go. But fortunately, life is not that way. You probably have to do some negotiations one way or the other. And that's really the fun part. It's where the bargaining is, right? It's like where we're going to really start playing our cards. And if we play our cards right, then of course we get to move forward and see what can we pull out of it. And negotiations is all about you understanding that negotiation always needs to go into a direction where reasonable thoughts and reasonable processes are shown towards buyers and sellers at the same time. So you need to always set good expectations with a negotiation. I mean, there's a bargaining process, and you can get low offers and high offers, whatever it is, but negotiations always starts with somebody putting an offer on the table. Now, since you just did the offer check and you put your offer on the table, the best thing that you can do is kind of set the expectation to your prospect that you're asking them to also make an offer, right? To also get them to give their thoughts and give their understanding of what they would like to do next. Now, if they say to you, let me think about it, well, that is an objection, because let me think about it means that they're not certain about something, that they're not clear about something. So you need to basically go a few steps back to basically clarify with them again on what that process is. Does that make sense? Let me just make it a little bit easier to give you by giving you an example. Let's say you have shown everything, you've shown a whole property to somebody, and you basically did the temperature check, and during the temperature check, you really felt that this client, has a lot of interest. Well, that's good. You have done a good temperature check. Then you have done the clarity check. In the clarity check, you also have shown, the process of how to buy this property. You have reconfirmed that with the buyer by asking him, Mr. Potential Buyer, is there anything you would like to know more about the process of buying this property? He says, no, it's all clear. Okay, great. You've done a great clarity check. Then you do the offer check. You put in the price and you put in the conditions. Mr. Potential Buyer, is everything clear about the offer that I just put on the table? He says, yes. Then he says, you know what? Let me think about it. What happens a lot, right? I know it's happening to you a lot, and that is fine. Let me think about it can have a lot of meaning. But I can tell you what 80% of the time this means. This means that your clients are not confident enough yet to make a decision. Yes, it's all confidence. They need a little bit of a confidence push. And based on that confidence push, you need to help them push that forward. So how do you do that? Well, basically you do that by giving them some assurances, and you start asking some questions. So assurance number one is, hey, Mr. Potential Buyer, of course you would like to think about it. I mean, this is a big decision. Everybody should give some good thoughts about it before they want to proceed. So I'm totally on your side. Well, that gives them some assurance, right? You're on their side. You're not questioning their thoughts about buying this potentially. But then you also ask some questions. You say, but Mr. Potential Buyer, since you would like to think about it, let me understand a little bit better. What is it particularly you want to think about? Because I've shown you everything, and I can see that might be some doubt or something that I have not clarified yet. So don't mind me asking, what is it specifically you would like to think about? You see, you go down into the specifics of what your client wants to think about. And that helps your client to dig a little bit deeper in their brain of what is it really that is on the table here. And usually they will come with a fair answer right after that. They would say, well, the price seems a little bit high. And then you say, oh, the price, of course. I understand that the price is a little bit high. Of course, this is a fair assumption, right? And in that part, right, you want to always make sure that once the price is right, you kind of say like, well, let me give you then, some leadway, Mr. Client. If you feel that the price is a little bit high, what would you say is a fair value for this property then? Where would you put the price, Mr. Client, Mr. Potential Buyer? Where would you put the value? And based on the value that you put it, where do you get your information from? Have you gotten any data? Have you done any research? Because maybe I would have to learn from you. So when you do that, then it all comes down to, that you are working towards a closing. And this closing is, of course, very important and is everything for you to start closing a deal. So between the negotiation and the closing, there's a lot of what we call objection handling. You're handling objections all the time. And that is a whole different course that we will do here one time during one of our mentorship sessions. But remember that closing a deal is all about you putting the right expectations with your clients first, negotiating, handling objections, and then you will be ready to start closing that deal. And once you close that deal, then you have the power to help your clients actually make a decision. So what is actually a closing? A closing is actually determined by a very simple definition. It's asking a series of questions to increase the desire of your prospects in helping them make a decision that is good for them. So let me say that one more time, right? It's asking a series of questions by increasing the desire and actually also giving them the confidence of prospects to make a decision that is good for them. So how does this definition start? Here you have it again. You have to be able to ask a series of questions. Series of questions in helping people make a decision. So what is a closing then? A closing is a decision. You need to help people make a decision. Now, why can't they make those decisions themselves? Because a closing is a scary thing. You're not asking them to buy ice cream or coffee or chewing gum. You're asking them to buy a property, right? And that's not a small decision. That's kind of a big decision. Would you agree with me on that? So in what kind of state of mind does a person need to be to make that kind of decision? Yes, you're right. They need to be in a very confident position, in a very confident state of mind. So to be in that confident state of mind, you need to help them because your clients have a lot of fear. In the closing process, they have fear of, getting the wrong information. They have the fear of being lied to. They have the fear of the salesperson being manipulative. They have the fear of going into large debt. They have the fear of so many things that you need to come and give them the confidence that all of those things are being taken care of so that they can safely make that decision. And if you make that decision, that is the point where you basically go into the closing. And a closing, again, is nothing more and nothing less than a decision. Yes, you got it right. It's really a decision, and you need to help them with that decision. How? By handling the objections, helping them to overcome their fear, helping them to overcome the procrastination, helping them to rationalize on what they're looking at, bring them back to reality, right? Take away the fears. And how you do that? Ask them questions. What are they afraid of? What are they concerned about? How can you help them? And once you get that done, you can actually close that deal. Congratulations! You closed the deal. Wow, this is fantastic, right? Once you close a deal, then it all comes down to the next stage, what is basically the follow through. I mean, closing a deal is easy, but it's actually what happens after that that makes it complicated because now papers have to go to the bank. Papers have to go to the lawyers. Papers have to go to some countries, the notary. This is where really the tough, tedious work starts. What I, to be honest with you, never was really a big fan of. So I kind of hired people to do that for me, assistants and people like that, to put all the paperwork together. But think about this, right? Closing a deal is easy. Losing a deal, that's the hard part. Because now all the tough part comes, the contracts, the contingencies, the loans, everything like that. And that all requires a lot of follow through. You need to follow through on what you promised on. You need to follow through on actually getting the paperwork done. So closing the deal is just a decision. Follow through is really what's going to make sure that everything on paper is being committed to and you actually can follow through on the deal. Right? Follow through, we call that. So how much time do we have left? We still have 50 minutes left. I still want to do a few questions. We still have 3 steps, so let me just quickly go through them. Right? The first one would be that next to follow through, you basically would have the follow back. Yes, the follow back is basically the next stage, what you don't see in the screen right now yet, but we'll come there in a few seconds. The follow through is all about you having you follow back on your clients because once they close the deal with you, you want to keep following back on them so that you assure them that you're holding them by the hand and you're helping them to move forward in their decision-making process. So always make sure that you follow back, you follow through on the documents and you follow back on the communication. You follow through on the promises you made and you follow back on always talking with your customers. So never ever forget that. It's extremely important so that you push forward on that. And the final bit That is extremely important. That is, of course, after the follow back, this is where you do the final stage, and that is what I call the review. So once you close the deal, you follow through on all the contracts and on all the loan applications and the handover, then you're going to do the follow back. You always want to make sure that you keep following back on existing customers, on past clients, because they will give you referrals, they will give you, they will buy more properties from you if you have done a proper job. And then you, of course, want to do a review. And reviews are always very good because you always want to do two things. Always you want to learn from your customers and how was their experience working with you? How was their experience dealing with you? How was their experience, buying a property through you, right? And you want to collect some testimonials there because testimonials are gold. I'm just telling you, testimonials, collecting testimonials from your clients are the creme de la creme of your business, because anytime you collect a testimonial, I can promise you it will get you more business. It's something that is just so beautiful. I mean, I can brag about myself that I'm the best real estate coach in the world, but that's not going to mean anything for you. But if I get somebody else to say to you that I'm the best real estate coach in the world, then it's meaning something to you. Because if somebody else says something nice about you, somehow it becomes believable. You know what I mean? So learn how to collect a lot of testimonials and learn how to review your business by asking a simple question to your clients. Asking a simple question, there you have it again. Question, ask the client, hey, Mr. Client, can I just quickly know, how was the experience? How did you like working with me? Can you rate me quickly? What would you like to improve? What do you think I could have done better? So that you always learn from that process, and you will definitely, every time with a new client, you will do things better. So having said that, that's actually the 13-step sales process, but there's one more bonus that I want to give to you. Yes, a bonus on, that is important for you to know when it comes to closing a deal, and that is actually that you always, always, always want to celebrate. Yes. I mean, if you have worked so hard for a deal, and if you've done your best for a deal, and if you've done everything in your power to close a deal, why wouldn't you celebrate? I mean, always celebrate your victories because they're worth it. They're always meaning something to you. Celebrate when you have completed the 13-step sales process and you have helped somebody, again, invest in a property or buy a home for themselves. And it's like, yay! It's like, great, fantastic. Okay, up to your next client. But always celebrate. Celebrate with your family. Have a nice dinner with them, take them out. If you have children, celebrate it together with them, because that is what this business is all about, right? We're working our butts off, but in the end, we do that so that we can support the people around us and make sure that we live a meaningful life. Would you agree with that? I really hope you agree with that. If you agree with that, put that in the chat box below that you say, agreed. Just say, agreed. So I know you agree as much as I do, right? So I'm going to open up for a few questions. If you have questions, you can go to the chat box right now. This is a mentorship session. So if you have a few questions, put them in there and I'm happy to answer them. It could be a personal question, could be a question about your business right now, something you struggle with, or anything like that, something that you would like to know. Could be about the sales process, could be about marketing, could be about anything. You can put that right now in the chat box and I'm super happy to answer that. And we did get some questions beforehand from some other of our people that were basically in our community group. If you want to go to the community group, you can basically go to, first of all, I want to make sure that you do subscribe to our YouTube channel, right? Because we have so many videos in there. We have so many great videos coming online every single week. It would just be a pity if you would just miss them, right? So make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel. And on top of that, I also want to make sure that you are also part of our group, right? Our Facebook group. That is basically our Agent Success group by Propcoach. You just go to Facebook, just type in Agent Success and Propcoach, and you'll find it. Go in there. I'll make sure to put a link below, and that you get access to it, because there's a lot of content that we also share in there. One of the questions that I got once from an agent related to the sales process, he told me, he said, Taco, the sales process seems a bit long. Is there a way to shorten it? Well, you need to understand that we lay out the steps of 13, right? But there's a lot of overlap of steps together. I mean, negotiations and closings kind of work together. The three checks, right? Temperature check, clarity check, offer check also kind of comes together. So overall, the process doesn't have to be long. You just cannot skip any steps. That's really the important part. And if you would ask me what is kind of the key skill that you would need to learn to get through the process as soon as possible, there you have it again. It's power questions. You need to really understand how to ask very important questions, open questions, specific questions, detailed questions, and eventually closing questions. And if you know how to get through that for yourself, you will be able to really do magic for your sales process. But again, it all comes down from the start to the finish, and how you want to do that is really practice questions. So, yeah, and you say, like, how do I practice questions? Well, find a sales partner, somebody in your office that you kind of can, role play this, right? And start writing down a very big series of questions. And if you go to our academy, our Propcoach University of Real Estate, and you go into our resource center, and you will find scripts with so many questions in there. And just use them. I mean, they're so great, they're helpful. They are definitely going to be able to help you push forward. So let me see if there's any other questions coming in. Another question that I'm getting is, you talk about positivity and the greeting, right? And how do I know if something is positive enough, and how do I know that my greeting is well? Well, in the end, you will definitely see it with your clients the moment that they come walking in. You take control of that situation by how you shake somebody's hands, how you give them a smile, and how you take control over the situation. I always tell everybody I coach and everybody I train, you always need to lead the conversation. Doesn't mean that you are the talker. You're basically helping people, you're guiding them through the presentation, and people want to be led. There's this beautiful quote that a friend of mine once gave me, said that nobody likes to be controlled, but everybody loves to be led. Yeah, you want me to say it again? Nobody wants to be controlled, but everybody wants to be led. And there's a difference by controlling somebody or by leading somebody. And it's like a dance, right? If you have a dance, you want to be led. If you have a company and you want to have clarity, you want to have direction, you want to have that by good leadership, you want to be led. If you're part of a team playing sports, you want to have a captain that is leading you, right? And in sales, it's all the same. Everybody wants to be led. Everybody needs leadership to pull them through. And how do we look at leadership? When do we accept leadership? When do we respect leadership? If we're looking at somebody that has a lot of confidence, right? So you have to come in with a great attitude, and you have to come up with a great greeting so that you take that leadership from the start, and you're basically telling your prospects, listen, I am in control. I'm here to help you. I'm here to support you. And let's start with this beautiful presentation. So I really hope that you enjoyed today's session today. That's all the questions I'm getting here right now, unless you're still going to the chat box, and I'm still happy to answer any questions that are coming in right now. But that is as far as we're going today with today's mentorship session, what only means that we will be back again next week with another session. We'll make sure that this mentorship session training will be sent to you by link, and we will also upload this again into our amazing what we call our Pure, right? Our Propcoach University of Real Estate. And it was an amazing experience to spend some time with you today. We saw quite some people coming into our live session today, all the existing members of Pure. I wish you all the best, and I wish you lots of success within the upcoming weeks in your real estate career. You know where to find us. I, as a real estate coach, am always ready to listen to you, to hear you, and to help you move forward. Wishing you a very beautiful evening, and I hope to see you again next time. Bye-bye.